What's going on, my sensational sinners? Welcome to Sin Nation. Please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to become a sensational sinner. And I hope you guys have been staying out of trouble. Well, as for me, you know what they say, what's life without a little sin? And today we are going to be discussing one of the biggest sinners of them all, the man that has committed the ultimate sin. We're going to be discussing Chris Watts, and this is my first time watching this video. I am going to be reacting to a video from 9 News YouTube channel, and if you guys do not understand what a reaction video is, I'm going to be playing the video, pausing the video, giving my thoughts on the video, and doing it all over again, okay? So if you don't like that kind of video, please get out of it, exit, okay? But I will be reacting to pretty much, I believe this is Chris Watts' sentencing, where the DA pretty much gives a speech, and I guess his closing argument. I never seen the full, of him, the full dialogue of what the DA had to say, but I have heard that he gave it to Chris, honey, and he had a lot to say about the situation. So listen, without further ado, guys, we're going to get right on into the video.
Your Honor, there are no words to adequately describe the unimaginable tragedy that brings us before this court today.
Oh, and then also I didn't put, when we react on this channel, we drink wine as well. So I will be having my wine right here. You guys can have your wine, your water, your Coke, your Sprite, whatever you want. But I do like how he started it off. He just went straight for it. There are no words, and there's not.
I'm not even going to try to express the horror, the pain, or the suffering that the defendant has caused to these families, to this community, and to all who are a part of this investigation. However, I do want to spend a few minutes sharing with the court the details of the crime, as so far you've only had an opportunity to review the affidavit and a few facts here and there that have been offered to the court in the motions and pleadings that have been filed. The questions that have screamed out to anyone who will listen since August 13th of 2018 are why and how? Why did this have to happen? How could a seemingly normal husband and father annihilate his entire family? For what? These are the questions that only one individual in this courtroom or on this planet knows the answers to. I fully expect we will not receive the answers to these questions today, nor will we at any point in the future. I don't expect that he will ever tell the truth about what truly happened.
Even a DA knew how Chris is. He's a coward. He's a beta male. And to be honest, still to this day, over 5 years later, even though he did that confessions interview, I still feel like there were lies in that interview. He still have not stood in it and took full accountability.
Or why? Even if he did, there is no rational way that any human being could find those answers acceptable responses to such horrific questions. The best we can do is try to piece together some kind of understanding from the evidence that is available to us. And the evidence tells us this: the defendant coldly and deliberately ended 4 lives. Not by way of accident, but in a this. The defendant coldly and deliberately ended 4 lives. Not in a fit of rage, not by way of accident, but in a calculated and sickening manner. Shanann was 34 years old. She had married the defendant in November of 2012. Over the weekend leading up to August 13th, she had been at a work conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and returned home in the early morning hours of August 13th. We know that she got home about 1:45 in the morning. The doorbell camera on their home shows her arriving back home from the airport. Shortly thereafter, at least according to the defendant, they had what he referred to as an emotional conversation about the state of the...
I like how you say according to the defendant, exactly, because that very well could be a lie.
Marriage and about what their lives would look like going forward. What was said during that emotional conversation, only he knows. What we do know is that...
And look at Chris. I will always consider Chris, he just a beta male. He's a weak individual. Look how he's looking down. It is like, and his mother says he was a perfect guy. He was perfect. It's no way I'm raising a son and I see his lack of confidence. He doesn't look a person in the eye. He walks with his head down. He's being quiet and passive are two different things. Chris had to be passive throughout his whole life. Chris have self-esteem issues. And it's like for his mom to make it seem like he's just perfect individual. No, something was wrong with him. He's looking down now. He can't even face it.
Shortly after that, the defendant strangled her to death with his own hands. We know that he slowly took her life the morning of August 13th. We know that this was not done in an uncontrolled, vengeful manner that he tried to describe to agents from CBI and the FBI. If that were the case, you would expect to see vicious, horrible bruising about her neck, shoulders, and face. You would expect to see the hyoid bone in her neck broken. You would expect to see some kind of defensive wounds on his body as she struggled and fought for her own life. None of those are present. The only injuries that were on Shanann's body were one set of finger or bruising, what appeared to be fingernail or finger mark bruising to the right side of her neck. We know that our experts will tell us that it takes two...
And see, and that's the thing. Some people have speculated that maybe Shanann was sleeping and she was out of it, and that's why she didn't fight back. Because that's what I'm saying. Even so many years later, it's so many questions. Shanann was a fighter. It's hard for me to believe that she would allow Chris to strangle her and not even fight back. So what he's saying, to my understanding, is it wasn't this argument, this going back and forth, this loud and all of this. Chris probably was nice and calm with Shanann, then went in for the attack. And she didn't fight back. So I don't know. I don't know if she was asleep or maybe tied her down or what. But that's something we just won't know.
4 minutes to strangle someone to death manually with their own hands. The horror that she felt as the man that she loved wrapped his hands around her throat and choked the life out of her must have been unimaginable. Even worse, what must Bella, age 4, and Celeste, age 3, must have experienced or thought as their father, the one man on this planet who was supposed to nurture and protect them, was snuffing out their lives. They both died from smothering.
That's a heck of a word, snuffing out.
Let me say that again. The man seated to my right smothered his daughters. Why? Imagine the horror in Bella's mind as her father took her last breaths away. Your Honor, understand very clearly, Bella fought back for her life. The frenulum, the connective tissue between her upper lip and her gum, had a centimeter and a half.
I don't see any tears on Chris' face. I'm sorry. He's sitting there like a sad puppy dog. He got his sad face on. This man is not crying.
She bit her tongue multiple times before she died. She fought back for her life as her father smothered her.
And my thing is, just those people sitting next to him, like his public defenders, I mean, only God himself. I don't know if I'll be able to morally be able to defend a man like that, but somehow they got the courage and they were able to defend him.
Celeste had no such injuries. In fact, she had no external injuries at all.
Well, represent him.
But according to the medical examiner, she was smothered nonetheless. The defendant then methodically and calmly loaded their bodies into his work truck, not in a hasty or disorganized way. He was seen from the neighbor.
Okay, so before Chris' confessions happened, the DA is painting the picture as if Chris, unalive the children and Shanann all in one area. Then he loaded their bodies onto the truck. So then Chris comes with the confessions, and then that's when we find out he unalived the children at his workplace.
Camera, backing his truck into the driveway, going back and forth into the house and back out to the truck 3 different times. 1 time for each of their bodies. He then drove them away from their family home 1 final time, intent on hiding any evidence of the crimes that he had just committed. In 1 final sign of callousness for his wife, his daughters, and their unborn son, and their remains, he drove them to a location that he thought no one would ever find them, to one of the oil tank batteries with which he was so familiar. He knew this was safe. He had texted a coworker the night before saying, "I'll head out to that site. I'll take care of it."
Yeah.
He had carefully ensured that he would be alone in the middle of the plains to secrete away the remains of his family in a place that he hoped they would never be found. In 1 final measure of disrespect for the family he once had, he ensured that they would not be together, even in death, or so he thought. He disposed of them in different locations. He buried Shanann and Nico in a...
I love the way this man is like talking. His voice is just like, he just gives like, he has a voice for this too. He gives like country singer. Like, he's speaking well. He's very descriptive with his words. They're so piercing the way he's saying things and how he's saying it and how he's worded it. It's just like, wow, it definitely hits. I don't think it hits Chris because he's like, doesn't have any feelings. He's emotionalist. He's, in my opinion, he's a psychopath. So I doubt if it's hitting, but he has to play the role because that's what he's good at. Lights, camera, action, Christopher. It's just all a front. I haven't seen a tear yet.
Brave away from the oil tanks. Bella and Celeste were thrown away in the oil tanks at this facility. Different tanks so these little girls wouldn't be together in death. Imagine this, Your Honor. This defendant took those little girls and put them through a hatch at the top of an oil tank, 8 inches in diameter. Bella had scratches on her left buttocks from being shoved through this hole. A tuft of blonde hair was found on the edge of one of these hatches. The defendant told investigators that Bella's tank seemed emptier than Cece's because of the sound that the splashes made. These were his daughters. Significantly, when his co-workers arrived at the tank battery later that morning, to a person, they all described him as acting completely normally. It was a normal workday, even while his daughters sank in the oil and water not far away from him. And then his efforts at deception truly began. We've all seen the emotionless interviews that the defendant gives to the local media asking for help in locating his family. We watched...
I see where I see where Chris's attorneys or public defenders are. I wonder what he's whispering to Chris. Chris is not crying. I'm sorry. I haven't seen a tear. I wonder what is he whispering to Chris. Chris is shaking his head no. Now he's rubbing on him. He's consoling him. Listen. I don't know if these people are in church or they definitely have to believe in God. Okay? I believe in God myself, but I'm not consoling Chris. I'm just not. So I don't know what kind of church they go to, but man, because consoling him, nah.
Claimed that the house was empty without them, and that he hoped that they were somewhere safe, and that he just wanted them to come home. He told investigators that they were at home sleeping when he left for work that morning, and that Shanann had told him that she was taking the girls to a friend's house for the day. What is striking about this case, Your Honor, beyond the horrors that I've already described to you, is the number of collateral victims that he created by his actions. While he stood in front of TV cameras asking for the safe return of his family, scores of law enforcement officers, neighbors, friends and family scoured the area, fretted for their safe return. They texted him begging for any information and sending him their best wishes, all the while he hid what he had done. The list of indirect victims does not end there. Think of the firefighters and the Colorado State Patrol hazmat experts who had to don protective suits and who were called upon to pull Bella and Celeste out of those oil tanks. Or the coroner employees who had to...
That is Shanann's dad. That is the victim's father.
These autopsies. Or the victim assistants who
I don't know why they zoomed in on him this way, but okay.
frantically attempted to ease the suffering of those affected. All of this, Your Honor, for what? Why? Why did this have to happen? His motive was simple, Your Honor. He had a desire for a fresh start. To begin a relationship with a new love that overpowered all decency and feelings for his wife, his daughters, and unborn son.
Wow. When he says that, that hits hard. His wording is immaculate. He said he wanted a fresh start. He wanted to spend time with his new love. He wanted a new life with her, and that overrode what he felt for his family. Wow, couldn't have said it better. Chef's kiss with that.
While Shanann texted the defendant over and over again in the days and weeks leading up to her death,
Wow.
attempting to save her marriage, the defendant secreted pictures of his girlfriend into his phone and texted her at all hours of the night.
Right.
While Shanann sent the defendant self-help and relationship counseling books, one of which, ironically enough, was thrown in the garbage. He was searching the internet for secluded vacation spots to take his new love in researching jewelry.
I think that's the thing that makes it even more sick. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's just like adding the icing on the cake for me. It's like you unalived your whole family, but you made Shanann's life miserable those weeks before her murder. You made her life hell. You made this woman beg for your affection. You made her beg for your attention. You made her beg for the reason why you were acting this way with her and with those kids. You made her suffer. And if that was not enough to have her groveling and pleading and trying to go out of her way to save her marriage, that wasn't enough. You had to unalive her as well. And you had to unalive things that were the people that were close to her and were a part of her as well, and a part of you, unfortunately. And it's just like, I think that's what makes me dislike Chris even more, by how he treated her up until the unaliving as well. Because he did not have that to do, but he did it.
And while Shanann took the girls to visit family in North Carolina, the defendant went to car museums and the sand dunes with his new girlfriend. The stark contrast between the subjects of their internet and text content is absolutely stunning. Even the morning after he killed them and disposed of their bodies, he made several phone calls. One was to the school where the girls were supposed to start, telling the school that the girls would not be coming to school anymore, that they were being unenrolled, presumably to give him some more time before law enforcement notification about them going missing.
Thank God, and I'm going to keep saying this, thank God that Shanann and those girls were loved. Okay? Thank God for friend Nicole that got right up on it. Thank God for friends like her. Thank God for neighbor Nate, because they were on top of it. And for Krista, not just because you didn't love Shanann and because you didn't love those girls, oh, they were loved, buddy.
He contacted a realtor to start discussing the selling of his house, and he texted with his girlfriend about their future. None of this answers the questions of why, however. If he was this happy and wanted a new start, get a divorce.
Love it. Straight point blank to it. Get a divorce. That's how you do it.
Annihilate your family and throw them away like garbage. Why did Nico, Celeste, Bella, and Shanann have to lose their lives in order for him to get what he wanted? Your Honor, justice demands the maximum sentence under the agreement reached by the parties. As you will recall, the agreement calls for life sentences as to Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, and all of those to run consecutively to one another. It also calls for the count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy as to Nico to run consecutively to counts 1, 2, and 3. I would suggest that the extreme aggravation present in the defendant's conduct and in the efforts that I have described mandate that the sentences for counts 7, 8, and 9, the tampering with the deceased human body, each be the maximum of 12 years, and that those sentences run consecutively to one another. It is very clear that each of these acts, that these were not the subject of one act, but each oil tank that he walked up with his daughter's bodies and the hole that he dug for his wife and unborn son mandate a mandatory consecutive sentence. It's been alluded to this morning, but the defendant was certainly eligible for the death penalty in this case under the existing law in the state of Colorado. As you heard, Shanann's family strongly opposed my office seeking the death penalty.
And guess what? They must know the Lord in a different type of way too, because guess what? I particularly don't believe in the death penalty, but let me tell you something. For somebody like Chris Watts, I'll make an exception. Her family, I don't know how they got the strength to not want him to get the death penalty. I don't get it. I bless them, okay? Bless them. Chris will be on death row dealing with me.
And being bound to the criminal justice system for the next several decades. That's in large part, as you've heard, why we have reached the agreement that we have. 4 lives were lost at the hands of the defendant on August 13th for reasons that we will never fully understand, nor will we know. In the end, the Rusick family was much more merciful towards him than he was towards his wife, his daughters, and his unborn son.
Right.
Prison for the remainder of his life is exactly where he belongs for murdering his entire family.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Are you seeking 91 days to file a request for restitution?
I am, Your Honor, please.
I'll grant that request.
Absolutely. Listen, that was interesting to see. And that DA, he couldn't have said it better. I like how he got straight to the point. He stuck to the facts. He mentioned the affair. He mentioned the mistress. He mentioned the motive. He mentioned pretty much how Chris had done it from what they thought as far as the evidence. So that was crazy. But Chris deserved that. I don't believe Chris felt no emotions. I feel like he was pretending like he always had, like he had with Shanann and had what he was doing with the kids, pretending, playing a role. He in my mind, Chris is like a robot. He tells himself what he should be feeling at that moment, but the emotions are not real. But please do not forget to like this video, you guys, and subscribe to the channel and become a Sensational Sinner. If you want to see me do any other reaction videos or cover any other content, leave that down below in the comments. Or you can send that to me. My contact information is in the description. And be safe out there, you guys. And do not forget, pour me some wine. I'm watching True Crime. Bye, y'all.